Good morning, this is your TTT News Update. I'm Carrie Roberts. Making the news at this time. Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar is strongly criticizing those who say that the regulations governing this recent state of emergency seeks to suppress public meetings, interference to free speech, assembly, and expression. Via social media posts on Sunday afternoon, the Prime Minister compared the 2024 SOE regulations under the PNM-led government, noting that the regulation faced a constitutional challenge since the term public order was seen as overly broad and potentially restrictive of freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and freedom of assembly. This term was amended and was signed on March 21, 2025. She noted, however, that in 2026, under her government, there is no such restriction. The Prime Minister was responding to statements made at a PNM public meeting complaining that the current SOE regulations interfere with free speech, assembly, and expression. In other news, regional security expert Dr. Garvin Hira says clearly defined objectives are necessary in order for the region to see tangible results from the Countering Cartel Criminal Activity Proclamation at the Shield of the Americas Summit hosted by U.S. President Donald Trump on Saturday. Dr. Hira noted that the Shield of the Americas initiative could mark an important step towards strengthening cooperation among countries in the Western Hemisphere, noting that Trinidad and Tobago in particular stands to gain significantly.
Being a signatory places the country in a strategic position to benefit from enhanced partnerships in regional security, economic resilience, and sustainable development. You see, strengthening cooperation can improve intelligence flows, maritime domain awareness, and border protection, while supporting economic stability through safer trade corridors and energy security.
Dr. Hira noted that the inclusion of Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana signals the region's greater significance in world affairs.
Ultimately, the success of the initiative, as we would be able to view and in foresight, will depend on how effectively these commitments translate into what is known as tangible actions that will support crime reduction, support economic opportunity, and long-term sustainable development across the region. So it's not only what is discussed now, it's how do we roll this out into the implementation, and how do we continue to support the initiatives from our side with our resources and, of course, our capacity. It's a joining of forces for a common goal, but they must be clearly defined objectives.
The gathering of 12 key leaders from Latin America and the Caribbean at the Shield of the Americas Summit took place in Miami, Florida on March 7th, addressing criminal cartels, drug trafficking, and illegal migration in the region. In other news, Minister of Culture and Community Development, Michelle Benjamin, is appealing to women to take care of themselves. The minister was speaking at an International Women's Day walk on Sunday morning. The minister was speaking to the media following a walk around the Queen's Park Savannah in commemoration of International Women's Day.
International Women's Day to all the women in Trinidad and Tobago. The message from myself and my ministry is, of course, to stay healthy. The theme is gift again, and we give to society. We are the backbones of our homes, but sometimes we forget ourselves. So I want to tell every woman outside there to take care of yourself, gift again, but remember yourself as well.
In sport, history was made in Ahmedabad on Sunday night, and India made sure of it in emphatic fashion to lift the ICC Men's T20 World Cup for a record third time, brushing aside New Zealand in a final that was never really a contest. In front of a 132,000-strong crowd inside the stadium, India took the game away from New Zealand entirely, with their batters putting on 92 runs inside the first 6 overs alone. Sanju Samson finishing with 89 off 45 balls. Inshan Kishan kept his foot on the gas with a blistering 54 off 25, as India posted 255 for 5. New Zealand's reply never threatened. Finn Allen, Rachin Ravindra and Glenn Phillips all fell cheaply. Only Tim Seaford resisted with a top score of 52, as the batting lineup simply had no answer for India's attack. Jasprit Bumrah was unplayable. His 4 wickets for just 15 runs marked the first time a bowler has taken a 4-wicket haul in a T20 World Cup final. Axar Patel on his home turf was equally devastating, spinning out 3 batters as New Zealand folded for 159 in 19 overs, 96 runs short of their target. And that's what's making the news this morning. But when we come back, the Trinidad and Tobago Today morning show gets going.
Every client deserves expertise, integrity, and guidance they can trust. At Camino Realty International, we deliver integrated real estate solutions, sales, rentals, property management, and project development. Driven by excellence, transparency, and innovation, we protect value, create opportunity, and build lasting success. Because real estate isn't just about buildings. For more information on our services, log on to CaminoRealty.com or follow us on social media at Camino Realty TT. Camino Realty International, elevating lives one property at a time.
And I think a lot of people, they overthink this sometimes when it comes to time for each other. And they kind of put too much pressure on themselves about it. What do you think? No?
Yes, I think that's the case.
It's not, you know, you can start small.
It's not that deep. It's not that complicated.
You can start small. It doesn't have to be always a big extravagant date somewhere or flying to some exotic country or something like that, right? It could be the smallest of things. It could be just watching a sitcom for half an hour, one day a week, right? Just the two of you, right? Or grabbing dinner, or being intentional about sitting down and eating dinner together and just having conversation. Right, and not just being so busy with life that you're not even checking in. You're not even checking to see how that person is doing or feeling. The Marriage Confessional, only on TTT.
Ever wondered what happens before the lights come on? Before the crowd pours in? Before the magic hits the stage? This is your all-access pass. Sneak Peek with Junior K takes you behind the scenes of the biggest cultural moments and the hottest events across TNT. From the sound checks to the stage setups, from final rehearsals to exclusive interviews. If it's about to be big, we're already there. Catch Sneak Peek airing daily on TTT and relive every moment on all our social media platforms. Sneak Peek with Junior K, where the story starts before the spotlight.
Health and wellness, the core of our existence on planet Earth. Let us hear the voices of our very own citizens, our local and regional medical community, scientists and climatologists. Caribbean Medical TV is geared to developing a consciousness in our people in terms of our health and lifestyle. Knowledge is a very powerful tool, and we must empower ourselves with the information to protect against chronic and other related diseases. From the impact of climate change on our health to NCDs, Season 3 of Caribbean Medical TV tackles the challenges we all face, giving our citizens hope for a better tomorrow. Be viewing Caribbean Medical TV.
Monday, 9th March 2026. The time now, it is 6:09 a.m. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago and the world. I'm Virmala Balkaran, and welcome to Trinidad and Tobago Today. And happy belated International Women's Day. Well, today we have a woman-filled guest list, and we celebrate our achievements and all our contributions to the world. But first, let's take a look at what's trending this morning. Now, there's no better way to start the show than by spotlighting Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissess's attendance at the Shield of the Americas Summit in Florida over the weekend, hosted by U.S. President Donald Trump, where she certainly left her mark. Now, the summit also saw the announcement of a new America's counter-cartel coalition aimed at strengthening regional security cooperation across the hemisphere. Well, Donald Trump said The America's Counter-Cartel Coalition will unite militaries from 17 countries to dismantle drug cartels and gangs operating across the Western Hemisphere. Well, the U.S. plans to use intelligence, military resources, and cooperation with partner nations to defeat these groups using all legally available means. Well, during the summit, the Prime Minister met with the U.S. Secretary of Energy to discuss energy security and the possible reopening of Trinidad and Tobago's Petrotrin refinery. The meeting follows early discussions with the U.S. Secretary of State, who referred Trinidad and Tobago to the U.S. Department of Energy for further talks on the matter. And also, the Prime Minister held bilateral meetings with the U.S. Secretary of Commerce and the U.S. Trade Representative as part of ongoing efforts to strengthen economic and trade ties. Well, in addition to energy discussions, TNT used the summit to advance its application to join the South American trade bloc Mercosur, with the Prime Minister also holding talks with the President of Paraguay on the issue. And Public Utilities Minister Barry Padaret said that the Prime Minister had a really busy schedule at the summit, participating in at least 8 bilateral meetings and advocating TNT's interests in energy and national security cooperation. Well, in some international news now, the war between the United States, Israel, and Iran has entered its second week, with new airstrikes targeting Iranian oil facilities and water infrastructure. Now, Iran retaliated with attacks on U.S. targets in nearby Arab countries and has appointed Mojtaba Khamenei as its new supreme leader after his father, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, was killed in the initial strikes. While the Pentagon also confirmed 2 additional U.S. service member deaths, bringing the total to around 7, I believe. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump has not ruled out sending U.S. ground troops to the region, where the conflict has already resulted in about 1,845 deaths across several Middle Eastern countries. Well, today we also celebrate International Women's Day on Trinidad and Tobago today. As you know, it was officially observed yesterday, March 8th, but of course, we won't miss the opportunity to give you a really special treat with today's show. But first, let me take this opportunity to say thank you to all the amazing women who work behind the scenes to pull TNT Today together every single day. Thank you to our acting CEO, who you'll see later on the show. That's Kimoy Thomas Williams. Our wonderful head of news, Mahalia. Our amazing technical producers, Lou Bell and Marianne. And of course, our new show producer, also Avi, Lisa, and Crystal. And all the other incredible women in our team who believe in me and keep me going every single day. The list goes on, but I am beyond grateful to have your support each day. And in this celebration of International Women's Day, let us embrace the true power of sisterhood. When women stand together, we uplift one another. We really become our sister's keeper. We create unstoppable change. So together, let's accelerate that action and build a world where every woman and girl can rise and, of course, thrive. Well, as promised, today we feature some incredibly powerful women on the show. This is one you don't want to miss. Grab your cup of coffee and settle in. TNT Today has begun.
City 91.1. Thought-provoking conversations, bold perspectives, voices you trust. Talk City 91.1. Bigger, bolder, and more powerful than ever before.
Yes, Talk City 91.1 FM.
A brand new era of talk radio is here. With voices you know, trust, and respect. Get ready for an all-new lineup of the very best in talk. Andy Williams, Lennox Smith, Stephen Reese, Mr. X, Derek Charbodi, Roland Stewart, Sharon Farfan, Sudath Prasad, Heavy Duty, Alex Asing, Karen Francisco, Cherry Lean Lewis, Short Pants, and more of the voices shaping the national national conversation. From hard-hitting current affairs to real community issues, culture, politics, social development, and the stories that matter most to you. This is where Trinidad and Tobago comes to talk.
So I got right here on Talk City 91.1, where we're going to give you something new, something hot every day, Monday to Friday.
Listen on 91.1 FM and connect on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. Talk City 91.1. Your city, your voice.
You could like a picture, you could like a post or something, and so many other people can see that, right? You might comment on something and think, oh, you're just commenting, but so many other people can see that as well. So I think managing those types of behaviors are also important in a relationship, because while you may not be actively going out doing something, you might for example, like a post or comment on something that is seemingly inappropriate, and that can cause some kind of friction in your relationship with your spouse.
Yes, you also cannot be naive. If you think by hiding from your spouse, by texting someone, or hiding from your spouse by by using social media, is hiding it from that person, it's open to the public.
Yeah.
So there's somebody else on the end of that text.
Receiving it.
Even
if it's an inbox and it's not public to everyone.
It's in the public domain.
Yes.
So if you're doing something that could violate the trust, the balance of your relationship, and there's another party involved, as you said, like direct messaging or texting, then you're leaving yourself open to exposure anyway.
The Marriage Confessional, only on TTT.
When it matters, we're there, reporting the news as it happens, because your will can't wait. TTT News, nightly at 7. TTT News, committed, accurate, relevant.
Well, political developments on the international stage continue to generate discussion at home, particularly following Prime Minister Kamla Prasad Bisasa's recent visit to the United States, which we spoke about this morning, where regional leaders gathered for the Summit of the Americas. Well, during the meeting, as you know, leaders discussed issues like regional security, migration, and of course, strategies to address organized criminal networks, something we've been talking about all week long last week with the United States. Also signing a declaration aimed at countering cartel activity in the hemisphere. Well, the Prime Minister's participation in the summit and the decision to sign onto this declaration has truly sparked debate locally and across the region about things like diplomacy, sovereignty, and Trinidad and Tobago's relationship with both the United States and CARICOM. So to help us break down the political implications of this development and what it could mean for the country's foreign policy direction, this morning, we are so happy to say we're joined by Dr. Indira Sijiwan. Now, Dr. Indira Sijiwan is a competitiveness and trade economist and a thought leader with a passion for driving sustainable economic transformation in the Caribbean. And you know, she has held leadership roles across public, private, and academic sectors, championing evidence-based policymaking and inclusive development. She's also widely recognized for her insightful commentary on economic diversification, governance, and social equality. And she's also a really sought-after speaker on regional development issues. So it is my pleasure to kickstart this really special show this morning with Dr. Indira Sijiwan. Good morning, Dr. Sijiwan.
Good morning, Virmala. I thank you for that introduction. I am very, very pleased to be here this morning to have this chat with you.
So important things happening, over the weekend. As we started the show this morning, we spoke about that visit, the Prime Minister in the United States and the relationship. But to start us off, I really, really, really want to ask you, how significant is Trinidad and Tobago's participation in the Shield of the Americas Summit? And of course, the decision to join the Americas Counter-Cartel Coalition.
I think it's extremely significant. I think, you started off before you introduced me by talking about the fact that it is International Women's Day that we're celebrating. Prime Minister Karan Brood was the only woman, was the only female leader of a country out of those 17 countries that were invited by the United States to this particular event. And I think that really it's a celebration that we should not ignore. But putting that aside, I think this is an extremely important initiative for Trinidad and Tobago. Now, let us put it in context, Virmala. Crime, the drug trafficking, Trinidad and Tobago as a transshipment hub is a real thing for us. We live in a country where the criminals are the ones that are free to roam and are free to do what they want. And we as citizens basically live in jails. And this has been going on now for over a decade. And governments should, whatever initiatives that they have put on the table, has not been able to do anything with respect to curbing criminal activity. We know for a fact violent crime, for example, murders. We moved from in 2020, let me have some stats here. We moved from 2015, 410 murders to 624 in 2024. That is a huge increase. The loss of life is not a good thing. And clearly, I think Prime Minister Prasad Bisesa recognized that as a country, as a small island state, we simply don't have the resources to be able to deal with this. I think she even recognized beyond that, CARICOM does not have the means and the resources to be able to deal with this, because we are one of the largest players in CARICOM. And if Trinidad and Tobago can't deal with crime, it is very unlikely that our smaller partners in CARICOM can help us. And she recognizes that we need the support of a country that has the means and the resources and the capacity to be able to help us. And she's been very, very consistent. Her engagement, her partnership with the United States is about security. It is about protecting the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. And I think whatever is done, because we're the most southerly state, whatever we do in Trinidad and Tobago with respect to curbing crime is going to redound to the benefit of the entire CARICOM. So I think that she's been very consistent in terms of what she hopes to achieve. She has, from the very get-go, said curbing crime is priority number one, and this is what we see her doing through this particular initiative.
Dr. Sujiwan, I mean, apart from the photo ops and, all the video that we're seeing on the screen and everything, social media has been a buzz. And this is a really bold move. And she is standing in a room with a lot of powerful men. This visit in itself and the signing and all of that, what does this level of engagement between TNT and the U.S. actually signal?
Well, it is signaling that we are a partner that the United States is recognizing as one that is important to them in this fight against organized crime in the region. I think we already are seeing some of the benefits to be derived from this. We can't just look at this in isolation. Prime Minister Karan Brood came into a lot of heavy criticism when she took the side of the United States with respect to what was happening in Venezuela. She was always very clear. She was not about the business of removing an administration. She was not in the business of doing anything other than engaging in a relationship with a superpower that can look at the issue of reducing crime, dealing with the drug trade, with the ammunition trade that has proliferated. We have already seen some side benefits to that. I mean, once again, the notion of natural gas coming from Venezuela to Trinidad and Tobago is a real possibility. And we cannot isolate the economics from the issue of crime. Crime, it pervades everything. If we are unable to get crime under control, the economy of Trinidad and Tobago will not be able to recover. We will not be able to see that pathway of growth that we want. And already we're seeing signs in the energy sector, which continues to be the mainstay of the economy. We see that sector already shoring up. We already are hearing about the possibility that as early as 2027, certainly up to 2028, we can see gas flowing from Venezuela into the Trinidad and Tobago economy, which will down to the benefit of all of us. So the benefits are already clear. I think when we hear some of the initiatives that is coming out of this program, it's talking about providing training support for the military and the crime fighting forces of countries such as Trinidad and Tobago. We need that. We absolutely and desperately need that. There could be opportunities for Minister Sturge, for example, in the pre-meeting to this, actually called on the United States to provide us with greater resources, recognizes that our financial situation is not so sound, and saying that for Trinidad and Tobago to play its part, we need from the United States greater resources to shore up our military capabilities. This is talking about border security, and we all know border security is something that we have not been able in Trinidad and Tobago to bring under control, and this could potentially give us the opportunity to do that. So it is quite significant.
Dr. Sijiwan, the Prime Minister also emphasized, I'm sure you heard that, sovereignty in foreign policy decision. How do you think the participation in this coalition will align with that approach?
Well, she's very clear on that too. She's concerned about the sovereignty of Trinidad and Tobago. She's concerned about putting Trinidad and Tobago first. I mean, one can't fault her in that. And when we look at CARICOM, a lot of criticism has been levied her way from other leaders in countries within CARICOM. But these very countries have used sovereignty conveniently to their own benefit. Let us not forget, it is not a regional agreement. It was not a CARICOM agreement that saw some of the islands enjoying from the benefit of cheap energy from Venezuela through Petrocaribe. Only a selected number of countries. And that was done through bilateral arrangements between individual countries and Venezuela. The issues of the citizen investment program implemented by many of these countries, it's about sovereignty versus regionalism. These are not decisions taken at the regional level. These are decisions taken at the individual level. And Prime Minister Prasad Bisasa is exercising that right to say, I am making a decision, a sovereign decision for Trinidad and Tobago. She doesn't see it conflicting, and I do not believe that it conflicts with the notion of regionalism and the notion of Trinidad and Tobago being part of this region. In fact, we must recognize Trinidad and Tobago is one of the largest economies in CARICOM, and we really lead the way. And I feel that the benefits that other countries in CARICOM will enjoy, it's going to be significant. Let us not forget, there was this strong anti-US sentiment when she was in support of the US. But then when the United States says, listen, if you want what you want from the United States, then you have to do certain things. Why didn't some of the CARICOM countries stand up against the US and not remove their programs with respect to doctors from Cuba coming into their countries? They very quickly, did what the United States wanted. So we cannot ignore the fact that we live in a time in history where small island states have to be very strategic. And I think she's been extremely strategic. She's understanding how the world is shifting, how hemispheric power is shifting and changing, and she is responding in a way that ensures that Trinidad and Tobago is at the table. We are at the table, and that is not to be minimized.
Yeah. Let's just move past the U.S. for a second. There's also the partner nations, and this coalition speaks to increased cooperation with our partner nations as well. What kinds of strategic or even diplomatic opportunities do you think could arise from that, Dr. Sijiwan?
Well, dealing with crime is one thing, but obviously there would be opportunities for other things, such as trade. For example, it gives us the opportunity to strengthen our trade relations with many of these countries. For a very long time, we've been talking about South-South trade. So here she's in partnership, not with the United States, but with 15 other countries, in Latin America, Central America. So it gives her the opportunity again to be at the table with these other leaders. And it can therefore obviously create this kind of opportunity. But if we stay with the issue of crime, this kind of coalition, it means that it is not just one or two countries that are concerned about addressing the issue of drug trafficking, of narco trafficking. This is a collective, and there's always strength in numbers. There is strength in a collective set of countries coming together and saying, listen, we all have the same objective and we're all working towards the same thing. I would very mumuch like to see CARICOM as an entire nation, as an entire region come on board with respect to this kind of program. We cannot be idealistic in terms of what is happening in the world. We have to, none of us can't foretell the future. But when you're in a leadership position, you have to make strategic decisions and hope that the decision that you're making, having weighed the pros and cons, you have to hope that it is the best decision for the country, for the citizenry. And I think that in this moment, this is what the current government has done. The economic situation, the financial situation that we face currently is very real. We do not have the idle resources, financial resources, to tackle crime in a meaningful way. We need help. And that Prime Minister Prasad Sessa is woman enough to determine, listen, I can't do it alone. It is a priority, something that we need to get done. And therefore, I am going after getting the help from the place that can best provide it to me.
My closing question for you, Dr. Sajiwan, looking ahead, what do you think Trinidad and Tobago should be watching, most closely as this coalition begins to take shape? But not just that, what are you most looking forward to in all of this?
Well, my mantra, which is the growth and development of Trinidad and Tobago, crime affects everything. The drug trade, the fear, it affects investment, it affects foreign direct investments, willingness to come into the country. We have this huge revitalization plan that the government has put on offer. We hear talk about diversification, we hear talk about the revitalization of the energy sector. If we want to truly enjoy the benefit of that, if we as citizens really want to have the kind of quality of life that we want, if we want the brain drain to stop, if we want our young people to once again be invested in staying in Trinidad and Tobago, if we want our trained citizens, many of them who are choosing to leave Trinidad and Tobago and seek quality of life and security elsewhere, then this is an imperative for us. So that I look forward to this being done in a way that we can all feel safer, and those who are minded to invest in this country and have it grow and develop, which is each citizen of this country, will be so minded, and we can once again put this country on the footing of being that secure place that we all want to live in.
That's a beautiful closing. Thank you so much, Dr. Indira Sajiwan, for joining us today. And also, happy belated International Women's Day. It's a day we celebrate every single day. All right, thank you, and I hope to see you on the show again.
Anytime.
All right, thank you so much. The time now, 6:33 a.m. Follow us for all the stories that you see here and more at TTT Live Online. If you have a story idea, a press release, you want to collaborate with us, maybe you want to advertise with us, we'd love to hear from you. Contact us today at tttoday@ttt.co.tt and be a part of the conversation that's shaping our nation. Trinidad and Tobago Today, news you can trust and all the stories that matter. Well, we've got, as we told you, a woman-filled guest list this morning on Trinidad and Tobago Today. Also, just taking a step away from the discussion to mention that yesterday we went back to the Karan Brood Sanctuary to feed the cats that, I've been talking about for a long time. And there were many families there. And that's just something I really wanted to point out this morning. Thank you so much to all the families, all the people, everyone going whenever they can, doing whatever they can. It is certainly heartwarming and a really pleasant thought yesterday and today to wake up to, knowing that there's so many wonderful, beautiful souls in Trinidad and Tobago, and we celebrate that as well. Today, we are celebrating International Women's Day. We celebrate that every day, celebrating women every single day on Trinidad and Tobago today. When we come back, we've got Dr. Faith Brebner joining us on TNT today.
Every client deserves expertise, integrity, and guidance they can trust. At Camino Realty International, we deliver integrated real estate solutions, sales, rentals, property management, and project development. Driven by excellence, transparency, and innovation, we protect value, create opportunity, and build lasting success. Because real estate isn't just about buildings. For more information on our services, log on to CaminoRealty.com or follow us on social media at Camino Realty TT. Camino Realty International, elevating lives one property at a time.
And I think a lot of people, they overthink this sometimes when it comes to time for each other, and they kind of put too much pressure on themselves about it. What do you think? No?
Yes, I think that's the case.
It's not, you can start small.
It's not that deep. It's not that complicated.
You can start small. It doesn't have to be always a big extravagant date somewhere or flying to some exotic country or something like that, right? It could be the smallest of things. It could be just watching a sitcom for half an hour, one day a week, right? Just the two of you, right? Or grabbing dinner, or being intentional about sitting down and eating dinner together and just having conversation, right? And not just being so busy with life that you're not even checking in. You're not even checking to see how that person is doing or feeling. The Marriage Confessional, only on TTT.
Greetings, hello to you there, and welcome to the CSIT National Secondary Schools Climate Quiz. I'm your host, Sachin Ramsubag, and I am pleased to be part of this great initiative.
This Ramadan, join me, Charlene Lewis, for Ramadan Reflections, a weekly television series exploring meaningful conversations on fasting and the significance of the holy month. Airing every Tuesday at 8:05 p.m. on TTT, beginning Tuesday 24th February, we delve into real, relatable topics that inspire spiritual growth, discipline, and understanding during Ramadan. Let's reflect, learn, and grow together this blessed month.
Special thank you to panist Tevin Shockness for that special music that you hear on our very special billboard for today, our Women's Day show on Trinidad and Tobago today. So Tevin, thank you very much. Well, this year's theme, Give to Gain. How does that apply to your life? We'll talk a little bit about that later, but right now, it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Faith Brebner, Deputy Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly and Assemblywoman for Belgarden, Glamorgan, a proud daughter of Belgarden. Dr. Brebner is a public health professional dedicated to improving the well-being of Tobago's communities. Now, she holds a Doctor of Public Health, a Master of Public Health, and a bachelor's degree in neuroscience from the University of Pittsburgh. As Secretary of Health, Wellness and Social Protection, she's played a key role in strengthening healthcare access, advancing wellness initiatives, and guiding Tobago through critical public health challenges, including that COVID-19 pandemic. It is such an honor to have her on the show today. Good morning, Dr. Faith Brebner, and happy International Women's Day.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. It truly is an honor being on with you this morning.
Well, firstly, I really want to say congratulations on everything that you've always been, consistently doing and achieving in your sphere, and all the great work. And I know it continues. So we love that.
Thank you. Why am I blushing this morning? Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Because you deserve to blush every day. Well, first things first, Dr. Brebner, when you reflect on this day, which woman, either in your personal life or globally, anyone, have inspired you the most?
So I will go with the ones that are closest to me. I come from generations of very strong women. So my mother, my grandmother, my aunt, my grand aunt, they are all such great examples. They were all teachers or are all teachers. And I think that is part of why I am able to do a lot of the things that I do, because I have that kind of caring blood running through my veins from these women who have gone through quite a bit. They've shown the kind of resilience that, I think only women have. And I'm really proud to say that I've come from that generation, or those generations of women coming through that Brebner blood. So I look up to my mom, my aunt, my granny, my grand aunts, because they were all instrumental in getting me to this point.
Dr. Brebner, this year's theme is Give to Gain. What does that mean to you?
I have a mantra that I think I picked it up while I was at university. And it basically says that I need to act so as to encourage the best in others. And so doing, I will develop the best in myself. And I think that, in essence, is what give to gain means. We have to give. We have to ensure that others are great, that others are the best that they can be. And when that happens, we also get the best that we could get as well. We develop the best in ourselves when we look at the world from that perspective. So I always say, there's always room at the top, meaning even if I am there, there's no reason, and I particularly tell this to female leaders, there is no reason to not ensure that the women who are around you, the individuals who are around you, also make their way to the top. This is not a pyramid. This is not a pyramid where there's a single spot up there. There is always room, and it benefits all of us to ensure that we lift those to get to where you are.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. Dr. Brebner, looking at the woman that you are today, you're a public health professional, as I told everyone earlier, and also Deputy Chief Secretary. How do you personally work to develop and empower and uplift all the women around you?
So I ensure that the women around me know that their voices need to be heard. In many instances, we are the only females in a room filled with men. And in many instances, that is a little intimidating. So I always talk about the fact that we need to ensure that our voice is heard it does not necessarily mean screaming. It doesn't mean necessarily being the loudest or being the most outrageous, but ensuring that when you speak, it is of worth and it is the greatest value. And that actually forces the people who are around you to listen. So, I even when I'm just talking to young girls, I tell them about putting that bass in your voice to ensure that people listen to you and that kind of stuff. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. The women before us survived, and we are going to survive being women in the room and speaking up for ourselves, speaking up even for the men, because I think part of what we need to do is ensure that real equity and real equality happens. And in many instances, in some instances, that means just speaking up when there are disenfranchising of men as well. So just keep speaking up, and your voice is going to be heard. And you know what? It's going to be okay. It is going to be okay.
Well, switching a little bit to women in politics and leadership, just like yourself, this weekend we saw the Prime Minister at that summit. As a woman in politics yourself, how did you feel? What was your reaction seeing a Caribbean woman representing on that stage?
So I did not think I paid attention until I saw the picture. And then I realized, wait, our Prime Minister is really the only woman in that room. Go, you go. And I've actually said it to her. I love this version of, what we call Kamala 2.0. Our honorable Prime Minister really stood out. She may have been the shortest person in the room, and she may not have been in the center, but all of our eyes zoned in on her. And I was so proud when I saw that picture. And, we could only benefit from having such a strong woman or having such a leader represent us at such a high level. I was really proud when I saw it.
Yeah. Dr. Brabna, I want to switch to a very serious issue right now, which is violence against women. I know just recently a woman's body was found floating in Tobago, and violence against women is something that continues to plague society. What more do you think needs to be done to address this situation?
So I think that we need to, when the statistics show that most times violence against women is perpetrated by men, which means we need to start having deep, honest conversations with our boys and men. We need to find out what is causing them to react the way they react. What are some of the hurts that they have been experiencing that allows them to lash out, that allows them to think that violence is the only acceptable way of showing that they are hurting, because that's what happens. Hurt people hurt people. And I think we need to go back to how we treat our men and boys, how we interact with them. I use the example very frequently about a young, a 2 or 3 year old girl falling and cutting her knee and crying. And what we do, we run, we pick her up, we hug her, we kiss the boo-boo, we allow her to cry. When our little boy, a 2 or 3 year old boy, that the same thing happens to him, we say to them, stop crying, man up, you're a little girl or what? And what we are doing is, in essence, saying to that little boy that you are not allowed to feel hate, that you are not allowed to express that you felt it, and that you are not allowed to be a human being. And then we wonder why this little boy then turns into the monster that he becomes when he is, 25, 30 years old. So I think we as a nation have to think about how we treat our little boys and how we dehumanize them from even such an early age. And without having those kinds of deep dives into what is the root cause for the violence that we are seeing against women, we will continue to fail in those regards. So I think we need to just rethink what is happening with our men and boys, the kind of hate that they're experiencing, and create a space for them to be humans again.
And a final question to you, Dr. Brabna. What message would you like to leave with the women and the girls, not just in Tobago, but Trinidad and Tobago and the world, the Caribbean?
We matter. We are here because, if you believe in God, we were created as a special entity. We were created with these bodies that allowed us to reproduce. We were created with this mind that allows us to be sensitive and honoring and human and nurturing in our being. And we need to not be afraid of that. We need to not shy away from that. We need to, run towards that, but ensure that it is in a balanced way. And keep speaking up, keep ensuring that whenever you represent yourself, you represent your entire gender and you do it in a way that is meaningful. You do it in a way that shows love and honor. And we will keep showing up. We will keep being as the Prime Minister. In some instances, the single woman in the room, but I am sure her voice may have been the one that was heard the most in that room. So keep showing up as you are, and we will all benefit from that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Faith Brebner. Our message this morning, keep showing up and you matter. All right, the time now, 10 minutes before 7 o'clock. That was Dr. Faith Brebner joining us. Coming up next, Dr. Suan Barrett joins us from the University of the West Indies. That and more inside TNT Today.
Introducing the new Sun Mix Nut Bar. Available in 3 delicious flavors: granola raisin nut, almond cranberry crunch, and coconut almond crisp. All packed on a rich bed of dark chocolate.
Taste the good life, snack right. Taste the good life anytime. Good life, good life. Sun Mix.
Sunshine Snacks Sun Mix Nut Bar. Taste the good life.
This Ramadan, join me, Sherilyn Lewis, for Ramadan Reflections, a weekly television series exploring meaningful conversations on fasting and the significance of the holy month. Airing every Tuesday at 8:05 p.m. on TTT, beginning Tuesday 24th February, we delve into real, relatable topics that inspire spiritual growth, discipline, and understanding during Ramadan. Let's reflect, learn, and grow together this blessed month.
Greetings, hello to you there, and welcome to the CSIT National Secondary Schools Climate Quiz. I'm your host, Sachin Ramsubag, and I am pleased to be part of this great initiative.
Ever wondered what happens before the lights come on? Before the crowd pours in? Before the magic hits the stage? This is your all-access pass. Sneak Peek with Junior K takes you behind the scenes of the biggest cultural moments and the hottest events across TNT. From the sound checks to the stage setups, from final rehearsals to exclusive interviews. If it's about to be big, we're already there. Catch Sneak Peek airing daily on TTT and relive every moment on all our social media platforms. Sneak Peek with Junior K, where the story starts before the spotlight.
Amazing billboard this morning. Music by panist Tevin Shockness. Well, it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Suan Barrett, head of the Institute for Gender and Development Studies at the University of the West Indies St. Augustine campus. Well, Dr. Barrett leads critical research and advocacy focused on enhancing and advancing gender equity and social justice across the Caribbean. And through the work of the Institute for Gender and Development Studies, she continues to highlight key issues affecting women and girls, including gender-based violence, economic inequality, and the structural barriers that limit opportunity. As we mark International Women's Day 2026, Dr. Barrett and the UE are championing the theme Rights, Justice, Action, encouraging Trinidad and Tobago to move beyond symbolic recognition toward more meaningful, measurable change. Hello and good morning, Dr. Suan Barrett, and happy International Women's Day.
Good morning, and same to you. You look fabulous in
You
purple.
do as well. Love those earrings.
Thank you so much.
We were just having a discussion about those earrings, recycled material. So, Dr. Barrett, International Women's Day is often marked with symbolic gestures, but real progress is something that really takes action. So how is the I'm going to try not to bite my tongue with this one, IGDS, actually helping Trinidad and Tobago move from symbolic things to real measurable results?
Of course, excellent question. As you know, the IGDS, the Institute, we'll call it that for the rest of our conversation, has been in existence for over 30 years. Our mandate is not only in terms of teaching and learning and production of new knowledge, but it is in terms of outreach and community engagement. So what we try to do is, let's say, translate. We are translating the knowledge that we have developed, our philosophical ideas, our scholarship or empirical or theoretical. We do this in collaboration with civil society, international organizations, private sector. We find information and it translates into our classroom, but it also translates into community through our research projects, through our interventions. Every time in the year we have these ebbs and flows. So essentially, we must have the moments of the symbolic, both in the offline and the online, in order to create that visibility and connect to how we will build access and participation. But the impact then enters into our awareness, into our consciousness, in the way we think. When we see our young people saying, I've started an organization, I've incorporated this in my workplace, I want to incorporate a gender mainstreaming agenda, majorly across the region, not just Trinidad and Tobago, are those interventions in policy. Be they sustained, be they in progress, be they waiting for further progress, for example, our own gender policy in Trinidad and Tobago, we see those impacts being real because they then start to frame and dictate who we see ourselves as and what are our rules of engagement, legislative impact through our civil society partners, and so much more. So the impact isn't always loud and immediate, but it is sometimes loud and sometimes gradual and sustained. And this is done through what we call evidence-based advocacy. So along with our scholarship, our teaching, in and out of the classroom, we then propel our notions, our ideas, our notion that justice, rights, action for all, full inclusivity is necessary in society.
Yeah, and that's a really interesting theme. Caribbean women as well at the focus of that. So from your research, what evidence shows that, supporting women is not just a social priority, but actually an economic necessity for growth in society?
Women live relational lives. Women live relational lives. We live for ourselves as individuals, but we live in these roles. We're mothers, we're sisters, we're wives, we're daughters, we're community leaders, we're the tanty, we're the aunties, we're the sisters, we're the missies. We're all of these things where our lives are closely related to the well-being of our young and our elderly, and of course those who are compatriots. When we invest in women, we invest in those persons who are charged with both invisible and unpaid labor and paid labor to sustain our communities. If we want to think of how this manifests, think in times of a disaster, in times of trouble, the person who makes sure that there's a little food, that you have your medicine, that you have this, would be the women in the family. Yeah. So investing in women means investing in the community.
Yeah. I want to put a pause on our conversation for just a bit. When we come back from the news, we will resume this. Dr. Suran Barrett is here with us from the IGDS at the University of the West Indies. Stay with us. Carrie's up next with the news at 7 a.m.
Good morning, this is your TTT News Update. I'm Carrie Roberts. Making the news at this time. The Ministry of Health is correcting public reports regarding the official name of the Couva Children's Hospital. In a media release, the ministry criticized a recent newspaper headline, "The Couva Hospital has no name," describing it as misleading. It said the facility, renamed by the former administration as the Couva Hospital and Multi-Training Facility, was formally reverted to its original name, Couva Children's Hospital, following cabinet approval in 2025. According to the ministry, signage displaying the hospital's correct name has already been installed at the front of the building. It added that a larger external sign is also being procured and is expected to be installed soon. The ministry emphasized its commitment to providing the public with accurate information and urged media houses to ensure proper verification before publishing. Transport Commissioner Clive Clark says the Transport Division will continue to support all initiatives, especially when all women are involved. Speaking to reporters following a walk around the Queen's Park Savannah in commemoration of International Women's Day on Sunday, he said women continue to be valued in every possible way.
I must say it's a privilege to be here this morning to support all the women of the different agencies. I want to say also to Trinidad and Tobago. We at the Transport Division continue to support all initiatives, especially when our women are involved. We do have our female licensing officers here. It was a privilege this morning to walk with the Honorable Minister, with the Honorable Acting Prime Minister, and I think we are setting the right example for women of Trinidad and Tobago.
In other news, the Sri Krishan Chautal Group is calling on other community Chautal groups to educate communities to ensure the musical art form is preserved. Speaking to TTT News following their performance at Pagwa celebrations at the Mahatma Gandhi Institute for Cultural Cooperation over the weekend, acting president of the group Ganesh Ragunanan said this beautiful art form is at risk of dying if something is not done to encourage young persons to participate.
The Sri Krishan Chauta Group is embarking and teaching this art form. This art form is a dying art form, and we're trying to keep this art form alive. We teach a lot of Mahasabha schools, and we're extending an invitation also for other Chautal groups to join us and let us teach these groups of them the correct way of singing Chautal.
He is encouraging other Chautal groups to bring back Pagwa celebrations in their communities, to bring awareness of the festival, and with it, the music that remains a critical part of festivities. Mr. Ragunanan is calling for more support for local Chautal groups to ensure that the music continues for many more generations. In some sport now, with 3 match days to go in the TT Premier Football League, Defence Force FC still leads the pack with an unbeaten record, but it's not a done deal for the team from Tetron, with Club Sando remaining within striking distance, just 4 points behind the defending champions. In third place are Miscellaneous Police FC, who were trailing after an hour in their match 19 game, with 5th place AC Port of Spain when the lights went out at the Ken Cook Ground Police Training Academy. The game was abandoned with the remaining 30 minutes to be played at a date to be announced by the TTPFL. Prison Service FC are in 4th after getting past relegation threatened FC Eagles 3-1 with goals from Kyron Williams, Ricardo John and Brendan Figuera. Dominic Douglas got a late consolation for the Canupia team. Action for match day 20 begins on Friday 13th March with a doubleheader at the La Hokata Recreation Ground, Phase 2 beginning at 6 p.m. And that's your TTT News Update. I'm Carrie Roberts. After the break, we return to Trinidad and Tobago Today.
Every client deserves expertise, integrity, and guidance they can trust. At Camino Realty International, we deliver integrated real estate solutions, sales, rentals, property management, and project development. Driven by excellence, transparency, and innovation, we protect value, create opportunity, and build lasting success. Because real estate isn't just about buildings. For more information on our services, log on to CaminoRealty.com or follow us on social media at Camino Realty TT. Camino Realty International, elevating lives one property at a time.
And I think a lot of people, they overthink this sometimes when it comes to time for each other. And they kind of put too much pressure on themselves about it. What do you think? No?
Yes, I think that's the case.
It's not, you know, you can start small.
It's not that deep. It's not that complicated.
You can start small. It doesn't have to be always a big extravagant date somewhere or flying to some exotic country or something like that, right? It could be the smallest of things. It could be just watching a sitcom for half an hour, one day a week, right? Just the two of you, right? Or grabbing dinner, or being intentional about sitting down and eating dinner together and just having conversation. Right, and not just being so busy with life that you're not even checking in. You're not even checking to see how that person is doing or feeling. The Marriage Confessional, only on TTT.
This Ramadan, join me, Sherilyn Lewis, for Ramadan Reflections, a weekly television series exploring meaningful conversations on fasting and the significance of the holy month. Airing every Tuesday at 8:05 p.m. on TTT, beginning Tuesday 24th February, we delve into real, relatable topics that inspire spiritual growth, discipline, and understanding during Ramadan. Let's reflect, learn, and grow together this blessed month.
When it matters, we're there, reporting the news as it happens, because your will can't wait. TTT News, nightly at 7. TTT News, committed, accurate, relevant.
Every morning begins with a story, the headlines you need, the voices you trust, the conversations shaping our nation. Welcome to Trinidad and Tobago Today, where your day starts informed and inspired. News that matters to you. Conversations that spark new ideas. Stories that move Trinidad and Tobago forward. Tune in weekdays, Monday to Friday at 6 a.m. or join the conversation on any smart device at TNT Today Show. Trinidad and Tobago Today. Start here, exclusively on TTT.
A special edition of Trinidad and Tobago Today for you. International Women's Day celebrated yesterday, but of course we're observing it today. A woman-filled cast, a star-studded cast for you today. And of course, from the previous hour, we still have with us, and we're so happy that she's spending some time with us, Dr. Suan Barrett, the head of the IGDS. I got that correct on the first go. Continuing this discussion about women, gender equity, gender parity, and everything happening at the University of the West Indies. So picking up from where we left off, Dr. Barrett, gender equity requires inclusive participation. How is the UAE actually engaging men and boys as allies, and why is their involvement so critical and essential for lasting change in all of this?
Of course. Well, picking up from what I was saying before, just as women live relational lives, men also live relational lives. So yes, we do have some statistical trends about who perpetrates and who experiences the perpetration of things that we prefer not to happen, be they violence, be they mechanisms of inequality and so forth. We appreciate. But without men and boys in this fight to ensure that all of us have livable lives, we will reach nowhere, because as if we will be speaking at cross purposes. So that's the big answer. In the specific ways, we need men and boys, because men and boys are also affected negatively by those systems and structures of inequality, inequity, and injustice. And for want of, just without going into detail, we have patriarchal systems, right? So we want men and boys to also be able to transcend those limits. At the IGDS, Institute for Gender and Development, we have long incorporated the concerns of men and boys in our scholarship, both in terms of research and in our teaching and learning. We have men and masculinity as a core part of our program. But in terms of how we understand our research, in terms, for example, if we're addressing climate change, we must account for vulnerabilities across the most vulnerable groups, let's say women and girls and differently able people. But we have discovered young men in particular find themselves most vulnerable because of their lack of liquidity and inexperience. In other terms, we also need to look at the other sides of violence. Family violence affects women and girls, but it also translates to men and boys. We also look at how we think about technological impact and how that is insidious in the lives of women and girls, men and boys, and all of us, gender non-conforming people. So to answer your question directly, we must have an all-inclusive, cohesive attempt to address, mitigate, prevent even, or even intervene in these challenges. With us, we can achieve, as you notice the theme said all, so it's about inclusivity. And that all in this moment foregrounds women and girls. But that all in a sustained way accounts for all people, because all people live together in community, and we can't have one progressing towards a cause and the others just kind of stuck either not understanding or reproducing those ideas that undermine our equity and justice.
I want to switch the conversation just a little bit now to things happening at the UWI, as I have you here as well. We spoke about it, the UWI Open Days are happening. So, UWI provides such a holistic experience with everything from the IGDS and all the other faculties. And it's such a one-stop shop for everyone really wanting a good development, especially at that age with all the students. How can students come and check out the UWI and see what's happening? And I know the IGDS will be there as well. I think it's happening on the 28th and 29th.
Yes, Saturday 28th and Sunday 29th. You can register online. You could choose to come one day or both days, but both days will have similar offerings. We have financial advice, we have career advice, we have coursework advice, we have UWI life advice, because just so you understand, if you are coming to you're coming for an academic journey, you're coming for an intellectual journey, and you're trying to understand. UWI does well to help you understand the baseline of many things that we encounter, and also how to apply it in society. But UWI Life is also about community and building lifelong friendships, lifelong partnerships, and so you learn a little bit about that. We have campus tours, we have library tours, you speak to lecturers, you speak to other student advocates and activists who are in UWI. For example, at the IGDS, we have the IGDS Ignites. This is young people who go around asserting a transformative agenda. They talk, they write on the floor, they use Instagram a lot. As you know, the online platforms make reality even more real, a hyper reality, which can be quite impactful, though sometimes dangerous. So when you come down on the 28th from 10 to 4, you can encounter UWI and look for possibilities.
Yeah.
Those possibilities rest in what you really want to do. I always say, come with your parents, but speak without them. Because you're at that point where you need to discover what is that contribution you want to do in your society.
For yourself.
For yourself, indeed.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Suambar, for joining us today, the head of the UWI IGDS on International Women's Day, well, our celebration of International Women's Day. When we come back, our acting CEO is in studio, and she's going to be joining us having a discussion about being a woman in a male-dominated industry, and of course, just being at the head of everything here happening at TTT.
Struggling with heart health or frequent migraines? Discover the simple steps to reclaim your energy and vitality.
We're diving into a topic that affects about 422 million people around the world: diabetes.
Tune into Wellness Unlocked, the series that delivers expert advice, practical tips, and inspiring stories to help you take control of your health and well-being. Your health matters. Don't miss Wellness Unlocked. Watch now on TTT and take the first step toward better health.
The road back to trust is, one, accountability for the person on the other side who's been violated, but transparency on the person who did the violation. A marriage between the two helps you get back to trust. Here is why. If I violate your trust and I am so transparent to the point where you no longer, after 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 10 months, whatever the time frame is, you no longer feel nervous about checking my phone because you know there's nothing to hide, then that anxiety comes down, it wanes. And there's always a bridge back to where you need to be. And I think accountability is important, but you cannot have accountability or transparency. You cannot expect your spouse to know what that looks like if you don't have a conversation.
The Marriage Confessional, only on TTT.
Greetings, hello to you there, and welcome to the CSIT National Secondary Schools Climate Quiz. I'm your host, Sachin Ramsubag, and I am pleased to be part of this great initiative.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون.
This powerful verse from the Holy Quran invites us to embrace reflection, self-discipline, and spiritual renewal. Join us daily on TTT Limited for special Ramadan features, inspiring messages, heartfelt moments of devotion, and reflections that uplift our nation.
As we continue recognizing International Women's Day today, we're highlighting women who are making an impact in leadership and public service. Well, joining us now, as promised, the acting CEO of TTT Limited, Kamoy Thomas Williams, an attorney at law with 18 years of experience, a certified anti-money laundering and financial crimes prevention professional with a postgraduate qualification in international relations and an international MBA. Now, she previously served as deputy and acting director of the counter-trafficking unit within the Ministry of National Security, and she's also served on the Criminal Injuries Compensation Board and as a director on the Northwest Regional Health Authority Board. Well, she's also our beautiful, radiant, and amazing acting CEO. Good morning, Kamoy. Welcome. It's so good to have you. Is it first time on this set?
Yes.
I find that really hard to believe. Yeah.
So I'm enjoying it. It's a nice opportunity to be on this side of the table.
Definitely is. Well, firstly, I want to say thank you for all the support. I started with that this morning. Thanks for all the support that you've given, not just to Trinidad and Tobago today, but also me, and really just lifting up all of us as women and helping us to, you know, go to the top together with you. And that's such a beautiful thing to have a CEO like you. So thank you for that. And happy Women's Day.
Same to you.
So when you woke up this morning, who was the first woman that came to mind, and what does she mean to you?
This morning, the first woman that came to my mind is the same woman that comes to my mind every morning, my mother, because we have a very close relationship. I actually hope she's listening this morning.
Good
so
morning,
she would know
Mommy.
this. Yeah, but what happened is that she is the first woman that I admired from a little girl. And even throughout my career, you know, I've met a lot of inspirational women. I've read about many women who have achieved great things, but I admire the most because she's very resilient and hardworking. And some of her traits I've mimicked, and I think that is what has got me this far in my career. So I'll give you a quick example. She's someone that if she wants something, she will go all out to get it done. And that is something she instilled in me as well. So a couple of weeks ago, she purchased a new phone, and she reached out to my sister as well as myself, asking if we could help her transfer the apps from her old phone onto her new phone, but we didn't have time. So about 2 days ago, she called me and she's like, Kamoy, you didn't ask me how I got through with my phone. So I was like, well, Mommy, I know you figure it out already. And she's like, yes, you know, I got your father to take me to the mall and a young man helped me. Yeah, so she went into one of those phone stores and got him to do the needful for her.
Right.
So, you know, it's simple things like that I always admire about her. And that is something she taught me in life as well. You know, if you want something, set your mind to it, have your plan, your strategy, and you'll achieve it.
Yeah, she's resourceful and self-sufficient.
Yes, very
she's
much
not waiting on anyone.
Yes.
So your career is really expansive. I spoke about that today. You've taken on roles often dominated by men. This position as well, deputy director and all of that. Have you ever felt stifled at any point, and how did you overcome that?
I wouldn't say stifled, but probably misjudged, because I remember early in my career as a young attorney, most of the matters that I was assigned were male dominated. So for example, terrorism, foreign terrorist fighters, and human trafficking. So when I went into these meetings, about 95% of the men around the table were men. And, you know, they would look at me and say, you know, she's young, she probably just taken up space or whatever. But in order to deal with that, what I realized is that preparation was key. So to me, that is how I overcome challenges in a male-dominated sector. Always be prepared. That is a vital tool you have to go with. At any table, you also have to have confidence and be able to speak, you know, with certainty, and then they listen. So that is definitely something that helped me, as well as developing allies along the way. You know, that also helps as well.
Do you think that women, you know, we're becoming more accepting of women in powerful roles in society?
Yeah, definitely. Especially you can look right here in Trinidad. You know, we have a lot of females that are CEOs, chairmen of boards. You know, we have female leaders in the health sector, in the legal fraternity. But of course, there's still some ways to go, you know, but as women in leadership positions, we have to continue paving the way for younger women. We have to mentor them, and we also have to uplift women as well. I think that is so very important, because, you know, sometimes when a woman reaches at a particular level, she doesn't really want to help the younger ones. But in hindsight, someone would have helped her as well.
That's right.
So we definitely have to do that.
Which brings me to my next point, give to gain. That's the theme this year.
Correct, exactly, give to gain. So, you know, you have to share your experiences to make it easier, because, you know, back in our time, we didn't have that many women in leadership positions, so you more or less had to go on your own. But now, because there are so many, we have to give back. And that is why I also like the fact that, you know, we have so many conferences targeted towards young women and girls in schools. So that is something that we must continue.
Yeah, so you've taken up this really huge role as acting CEO of TTT, and you've really been doing a good job, and we can all attest to that. National state media broadcaster and the media world. Now, I've been a part of the media for the past 13 years, and I can tell you that at some points it does feel like a male-dominated industry. You know, we're changing that slowly.
Yeah.
Even with the anchors, and there's always this pressure to maintain an image, especially if you're a woman and all of that. So entering the media world and seeing whatever imbalance there is or there was, how are you changing that slowly in TTT?
Well, fortunately for me, when I came in, I noticed that, you know, there are some women in production, but there are definitely not that many in the technical area of media. So what I would like to do, and what I've been doing, is encouraging staff members to improve themselves, the team members. So I don't think position should no longer be based on gender. because there are men with good presentation skills, and you've seen that we have some good presenters, like Carrie, for example, you know, he's on air. So similarly with women, you know, once they have the requisite training and experience, they can get involved in aspects like production and, you know, the technical aspects of it, because I would like to see TTT be in a place where positions and leadership roles are based on merit and qualifications as opposed to just gender.
Yeah, Kamoy, what do you want your legacy to be here, particularly in the eyes of the women who are working here and the women who will come here and sit in these seats when we are long gone?
Right. So that word legacy makes me feel like, if you know, I'm so old. But no, but really with legacy, I would like women to lead with confidence, authenticity, and purpose, for sure. And why I say authenticity is because in the past I've encountered women leaders who on TV and at conferences, they're like, oh yes, you know, I'm here to advocate for women's rights. But behind closed doors, you know, they want to tear you down or give you pressure. And yeah, and that is not good. And I don't want to be like that. I've never been like that.
Yes.
And persons will tell you who know me, you know, I'm always willing to listen, to give advice, even if I might not be able to assist you. Just listening is something that I do. So I want women to learn from me to be also compassionate. And if when I leave here, women are pursuing their ambitions and continuing to break barriers and just being honest, then I think that's a legacy I could be proud of.
Yeah, a lot of times, you know, on a more controversial point, a lot of times people think for a woman to be powerful, you need to be rigid, and you don't have that sense of compassion.
Correct.
And that's something that deeply resonates with me, as you said, and it really touches me because that's something I want to talk about a little bit later. Leading with compassion does not make you weak.
Correct.
And
exactly.
we've seen that happens to be one of your greatest strengths here as well, in our experience as being under your umbrella. You started off with an illegal profession, right? Did you have a mentor back then, or someone you looked up to, or someone that inspired you to really take those steps before you entered this world?
The thing is, even though now I would like to think of myself as a mentor because I go to schools and, you know, give advice to young ladies and also to team members in the workplace and stuff like that. When I think back to when I was younger, I didn't really single out anybody to be a mentor. I just looked at persons that were recognized in society. So if you were to ask me now to pinpoint that one person, I can't, because I just took the strengths from different persons, both locally and internationally.
Yeah. In honor of Women's Day, what's your message to the women and girls who are looking on this morning?
Well, especially to the young ladies out there, you know, I have faith in them because if you know the new generation, they're very bold. So they would go after what they want. So we don't have that problem. But what I want to tell them is confidence will open the doors for you, but you also have to be willing to learn and you have to remain humble. Because sometimes, you know, they might seem a bit overconfident, but you have to know that you don't know everything. So look for somebody that, you know, could provide you with advice. You also have to learn every day. Every day try to learn something new and also believe in your voice. And when you're sitting at a table, never let anybody make you feel as if you don't belong at that table. So that is definitely what I want to put out there to the young ones.
And hopefully that truly resonates with everyone this morning. You're hearing from our acting CEO, Kamoy Thomas-Williams. Thanks for being here. But also, we want to take a look at a special report that was done. Well, a special feature, actually, this year for International Women's Day. The theme, as you know, it is Give to Gain. And it's a call to celebrate women's achievements while championing the mentorship and investment needed to unlock their full potential. Well, our reporter Faith actually caught up with the staff at TTT Limited to hear all our perspectives on this year's theme and really what the celebration of women means to them personally. So let's take a look at that now.
Multiple people believe that women should be celebrated every day for their contributions. This International Women's Day, let's hear what the staff at TTT thinks.
I think that women should be celebrated every day. Women and their contributions should be celebrated every day. I mean, there are celebrations for mothers, fathers, you know, there are individual days for each person and each celebration. But I think that in order for persons' contributions to really be validated,
Yes, there are women out there who were not really supportive of my career when I just started, but there were also women that held my hand. And I decided, now that I'm doing this for a little while now, I decided that I wanted to be part of the women who helped hold my hand. So I want to join them and help others, help other young women.
The contribution that women make on the whole is actually goes sometimes unrecognized, and I think as men we should be a little bit more conscious, we should be a little bit more sensitive, we should be a little bit more giving. And when you're looking about giving to gain, women give so much. Look at you're here right now and you could have been home relaxing, but at the same time we need to be a little bit more aware of what's going on and the contributions that women have been making and continue to make.
Because the fact that you got up, the fact that you were able to mother, the fact that you were able to get ready for work, put your suit on, put on your boots, whatever your profession is, you should still celebrate. Because as a woman, women go through so much. There are women coping with PCOS, endometriosis, some struggling with infertility, and they still get up and they still make a conscious decision to give the world their best. So that is my reason for thinking that women should be celebrated.
You know, simple things that we take for granted as modern day women, like voting, driving, all of these things women in the past would have had to work really hard for us to achieve. So I think the day in particular is special because it gives us a time to look back at those things, which would also help keep us motivated. And it also helps us to think of ways in which we can improve moving forward. And of course, that ties into the theme, give to gain.
Faith.
Thank you so much, Faith, for that amazing feature celebrating Women's Day, not just in Trinidad and Tobago, but also the world, celebrating with all these amazing women. Still on set with me this morning, our acting CEO of TTT, Kamoy Thomas Williams. Well, thank you for being here with us this morning. Any final message to all the women in TTT this morning?
To the women in TTT, I just want to say that you all are very, very strong and full of potential, and I am here to support you. And I see so many leaders in the women here. You know, they are truly team players, and I really enjoy working with them all, especially you.
Aww, you see, I told you, she's absolutely supportive. And she creates such a great environment that is conducive for all of us to really make that trek to, you know, the top. And
yes.
we really appreciate you.
We're all going together.
Yes, that's right. Acting CEO Kamoy Thomas Williams joining us on our celebration of International Women's Day on Trinidad and Tobago today. Much more when we come back. We touch music and sports. Stay tuned. Every client deserves expertise, integrity, and guidance they can trust. At Camino Realty International, we deliver integrated real estate solutions, sales, rentals, property management, and project development. Driven by excellence, transparency, and innovation, we protect value, create opportunity, and build lasting success. Because real estate isn't just about buildings. For more information on our services, log on to CaminoRealty.com or follow us on social media at Camino Realty TT. Camino Realty International, elevating lives one property at a time.
And I think a lot of people, they overthink this sometimes when it comes to time for each other, and they kind of put too much pressure on themselves about it. What do you think? No?
Yes, I think that's the case.
It's not, you know, you can start small.
It's not that deep. It's not that complicated.
You can start small. It doesn't have to be always a big extravagant date somewhere or flying to some exotic country or something like that, right? It could be the smallest of things. It could be just watching a sitcom for half an hour, one day a week, right? Just the two of you, right? Or grabbing dinner, or being intentional about sitting down and eating dinner together and just having conversation. right? And not just being so busy with life that you're not even checking in. You're not even checking to see how that person is doing or feeling. The Marriage Confessional, only on TTT.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون.
This powerful verse from the Holy Quran invites us to embrace reflection, self-discipline, and spiritual renewal. Join us daily on TTT Limited for special Ramadan features, inspiring messages, heartfelt moments of devotion, and reflections that uplift our nation.
Trailblazer, being the first female to represent Trinidad and Tobago at the IPF Open World Championship and the first to cross the 600 kilogram total mark, the highest weight ever lifted by a female in Trinidad. Well, congratulations to you, Zara, on your outstanding dedication, strength, and your inspiring achievements. On June 15th, 2025, Zara actually represented Trinidad and Tobago at the International Powerlifting World Open Classic Powerlifting Championship, claiming first place in the 84+ kilogram weight, I did that correctly, weight class, and earning her position as the 8th strongest female in the world within her category. You are strong, girl. She also made history at the North American Powerlifting Federation Pan American Regional Powerlifting Championships 2025 in the Cayman Islands, where she secured first place, brought home 4 gold medals, and broke 5 records. Happy International Women's Day,
Thank
Zara.
you so much. Same to you.
You are strong.
Yes.
Full stop.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like I honestly, I can't compete. I really can't. Zara, when you think of this day, who are the women who inspire you most?
I think of one woman specifically, and that would be my grandmother. She had 7 kids and then got cancer later on in her life, fought it through, still pushing, working faster than me every single day. And I think because of her strength, I know I can pull from it.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Your achievements, I couldn't list all of them. They're absolutely amazing and historic in many ways. How does it feel to break barriers in a male-dominated sport?
It is a male-dominated sport, but historic seems like a very surreal word to use. It sounds so, important. But in breaking barriers in a male-dominated sport, let me tell you something, the female powerlifters of Trinidad and Tobago actually are the best compared to our male counterparts, to be very honest. It sounds bad, but we are actually top of our weight classes no matter where we go. And for myself, it will be a very weird moment. It still hasn't settled in yet after all this time.
Well, powerlifting must be physically and mentally draining as well. What were some of your toughest challenges, Zara, and how did you push past those?
Sure. I injured both my ankles, actually, last year. I actually went into Panama and also into Pan Am Games and also into Worlds with damaged ankles, and Nationals recently in January there. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't want anybody else to beat me, so that's why I continue pushing.
I like that. That's simple. It's very simple. Nobody gets to beat me.
Exactly.
Did you ever feel underestimated or overlooked because of your age or your gender? Because you are young.
I maybe. But overlooked for my age, no. For my gender, absolutely not, especially within the sport. Our male counterparts are very supportive of us, and at the same time, I can lift heavier than most of them. So,
If I do say so myself.
Yeah, I mean, so they have respect for that.
Good.
Exactly on that part, yeah.
Good. So you show up and you show what you actually have to offer.
Yes.
And you gain that respect. Yes. Well, the theme this year is Give to Gain.
Mm-hmm.
How do you give back to other women in your sport community?
Okay, so a lot of us, we are, because it's so challenging physically, it also affects your mental health. And I make sure I leave myself very open for younger female, especially athletes, to come to you, to talk to you, to find out exactly how to calm their nerves before competition or even during training when it becomes a little bit difficult. How do I make them feel comfortable as possible in order for them to be able to continue in? Because I'm not going to last long in the sport. I'm not going to be here forever like majority of people. But I would still like to see a woman come after me, beat my records or even beat other records and continue to grow. I don't want to be the first all the time.
Have you ever received that kind of love from, or, that sort of support from anyone before you?
No. I would say no. I think it comes from my coach, mostly on that part, but not anyone else before because, I don't want to sound boastful when I say this,
yes.
But there was no one else before that would have achieved what I have achieved so far.
Yeah. And
I just want to make sure that continuing years from now that we can still have powerlifting as one of the best sports in the country.
You're an absolute trailblazer, Zara. And my final question to you is, what's your message to the young women and girls looking on, striving to break barriers in their own fields, especially in sport, in a field like yours?
Don't give up yet. It may seem very difficult and you have a lot of fights to do, especially as a woman. You would have a lot of people doubting you, maybe looking down at you. But don't ever give up, because when you do that moment when you give up, you never know if you take one more day extra, it might just be able to give you the breakthrough that you've been looking for this whole time.
Yeah.
So just continue trying every single day.
Breakthrough is probably just around the corner.
Yes, exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Zara Padier, for being with us this morning.
Of course.
On our celebration of International Women's Day, seeing some footage of you on Girl. That is some kind of strength. Well, thank you, and hopefully you get some rest. I think Zara said that she's been working for the past 12 hours. Yeah. Well, enjoy the rest of your
thank you so
your
much.
week, and we hope to have you on the show again. 7:41 on Trinidad and Tobago today. When we come back, well, the Queen of Bacchanal is here with us to end the show on a musical note. Destra is up next.
Coming up, another show-stopping performance from the Republic Bank Exeter Steel Orchestra as Antigua and Barbuda got ready for its own fiesta of colour and energy. New ideas for Tobago tourism delivered at the Youth Congress. This highly rated property fits in perfectly with the vacation offerings of St. Kitts and Nevis, where the future of travel was laid out. It's Caribbean Passport TV on TTT.
In a world filled with uncertainty, there is still hope. When the weight feels heavy and the night feels long, remember, your story isn't over. God's promises are still true, His love is still strong, and your breakthrough is still coming. Join us for Messages of Hope, Words of Encouragement with Pastor Jesse, presented by Youth Fires. Hope lives here, only on TTT.
Greetings, hello to you there, and welcome to the CSIT National Secondary Schools Climate Quiz. I'm your host, Sachin Ramsubag, and I am pleased to be part of this great initiative.
You are dearer to me than all the stars. So many wish but never reach. 'Cause when I'm falling and all the world seems dark, you help me find my peace. Oh, shun mi ba fishani. Oh, shun mi ba.
Well, Destra Garcia is Trinidad and Tobago's iconic Queen of Bacchanal, renowned for her soca hits and powerful vocal range. Beyond carnival and soca, she has shown her proficiency as a beautiful gospel artist with so much soul, masterfully blending faith and music in her concert reflections, Sound, Spirit, Surrender. Well, the first concert sold out the Winifred Atwell Auditorium at Queen's Hall, St. Anne's, where Destra delivered 2 hours of soul-stirring music, including hymns, piano meditations, gospel ballads, and Sankey choruses with powerful vocals and high production value, and special guests including her 15-year-old daughter, who we saw grow up from a baby. The concert actually showcased her range as a premier vocalist in any genre, while the upcoming part 2 promises to further explore Destra's faith, spirituality, and artistic evolution, offering fans an even deeper glimpse into the singer behind the soca superstar image. Destra, welcome and happy Women's Day.
Same to you, and I love your purple.
Yes, and I love your white.
Thank you. The only color missing is green.
Oh, well, we're complimenting each other this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Destra, I have my favorite memory of you. When I started off as a young presenter on Next 99.1 FM, literally one door away, you came for your birthday, and I was interviewing you, and you gave me a cupcake on your birthday.
Got a cupcake.
Yeah, and I remember it was one of my first Instagram posts, and I'm like, who gives people cake for their birthday?
You have to give to give.
Exactly, and that really set the tone for how I would approach you and how I would interact with you throughout my career. And you've always been one of my favorite interviews as well. So
happy.
Congratulations on everything you've been achieving.
You.
And you've always been very kind to women in this sphere and in every sphere. So firstly, congrats on an amazing career.
How so much.
And also congrats on Reflections. Now, I know that this concert merges faith and music in a very, very personal way. So how is this all different for you from performing soca?
So it's not different for me, but it's going to be different for my fans and even people that are not my fans that don't know or understand this side of myself. When Carnival is over, a lot of people would opt to go to the beach, travel, relax. But for me, after Carnival is that time where I do reflect. And I've been doing that sort of reflection my entire life, even before my soca career started. My entire family and I right now, we're fasting. We usually do the full 40 days of Lent, where from 6 to 6, we don't eat until, we break fast in the afternoon. However, a lot of people didn't know that about me until last year when I did the gospel album, also called Reflections. Guys, you could go get that. But yeah, last year, I felt like it was important to share my journey with everyone because of the album, to explain why I'm doing such an album. And I started the album, let's say, in 2003. Every soca album that I did, I had a gospel song on it, but no one would listen to the gospel because they want to hear all the soca songs.
Yeah.
So I decided that I was going to just do a designated body of work for my gospel music. I am not a gospel artist. I want to say that clear, because there are a lot of gospel artists that work really hard to have that title. I'm just a multi-genre artist that is capable of singing all sorts of music, and God has blessed me a lot. And in this time of reflection and faith, I choose to spend it like this.
Yeah, so during Lent, you're particularly spiritual,
Yes,
and you really
during
take
Lent.
that seriously.
Yes.
How does that approach the way that you sound and you approach reflections as well?
So I think reflections, it's very sincere. So you're not going to get a fake Destra, or some people might think, oh gosh, you can't pick up and take off God. God is always a part of my life. Even when I'm singing soca, before I go on stage, I'd say a prayer. If I'm blessed, I would give God thanks. So God is a part of my life regardless. It's just that it's brought to the forefront at this time where the entire nation of Christian faith, whether you're Catholic, Anglican, born again Christian, at this time, we observe Lent in this particular way. And it's even more powerful now because we're also in the month of Ramadan, where everybody is also praying and fasting. So I think ultimately and together, we're all doing the same thing. So this is a season of faith, a season of reflections, a season of Destra, having this show for the second time, and a season where you could say, you know what? Let me see what Destra is talking about. Go and check out my album and you'd totally understand my journey.
Yeah, we continue talking all about reflections and, of course, Destra's just journey, this evolution, and so much more. And we have a performance coming up as well when we come back on Trinidad and Tobago Today.
That time of the year again, my friends. You can feel it in the air. Football, football, football. It's back. Everyone's locked in. This is Richard Torpedo Thompson, and my Trinidad and Tobago people. I'll stay this straight. Fans make the game. Cheers, chants, passion. That's the heartbeat of football. There's only one 12th man that really brings the energy. That's Andre Errol Batiste on TTT. Every Thursday on TTT. Don't miss it.
You could like a picture, you could like a post or something, and so many other people can see that, right? You might comment on something and think, oh, you're just commenting, but so many other people can see that as well. So I think managing those types of behaviors are also important in a relationship, because while you may not be actively going out doing something, you might, for example, like a post or comment on something that is seemingly inappropriate, and that can cause some kind of friction in your relationship with your spouse.
Yes, you also cannot be naive. If you think by hiding from your spouse, by texting someone, or hiding from your spouse by doing by using social media, is hiding it from that person, it's open to the public.
Yeah.
So there's somebody else on the end of that text.
Receiving it.
On the receiving
Even
end,
if it's an inbox and it's not public to everyone.
it's in the public domain.
Yes.
So if you're doing something that could violate the trust, the balance of your relationship, and there's another party involved, as you said, like direct messaging or texting, then you're leaving yourself open to exposure anyway.
The Marriage Confessional, only on TTT.
Well, Destra is here with us, no stranger to TTT, and of course, she's talking all about reflections. But part 2 is coming up. Destra, tell us what to expect.
So part 2, Reflections, is going to be a different show because we have a different producer, and rightfully so, each show should be different. The catalog of songs, people would know. Some of them they'd be pleasantly surprised by. We have St. Joseph Convent Choir, we have Maria Regina's choir, and we have a few other surprises, which I will not talk about. But it's on the 20th of March, the day before Palm Sunday and Holy Week. beginning. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Destra, before we go, what's your message to all the young women and girls who are looking on right now?
So the theme this year, as we said before, is give to gain. And I want you don't give things to get things back, but that's not what it means. It just means that you give of yourself, your gifts, your talents, and you hope that the future generation is doing it just as good as you or even better. So you give the younger generation so that they could pass it on and on and on. And that is how we gain.
All right. Thank you so much, Destra. Well, women are incredible beings. We've done so much to contribute to society, from giving life to the world and also continuously helping to improve life. And personally, as a woman, one of the qualities I choose to lead with is compassion. So among all the strength, the intelligence, the resilience, all the determination that women possess, compassion is something that guides my heart. It is what makes me care deeply about the parts of society that are sometimes overlooked. So personally, I feel called to advocate for children with special needs, to remind the world that they deserve understanding, inclusion, and opportunity. It's also why I care so deeply about animals, which is no secret, who depend entirely on our kindness and protection. And it's why I believe that women uplifting other women is one of the most powerful things that we can do. There is a divinity in all living beings. Every life carries value and every soul deserves dignity. So personally, my dream is that we continue to grow into women who lead in many different ways, with strength, with courage, with wisdom, and yes, with kindness too. We can do that. Women who use voices for good, who support each other, women who leave the world better than we found it. To every woman listening this morning, thank you for the countless ways you've contributed to the world, whether loudly or quietly. We see you, we honor you, and we celebrate you. Happy Women's Day, everyone. Something we should celebrate every day. And today we have the honor and privilege of ending the show with the beautiful, the amazing Destra Garcia on Trinidad and Tobago Today. Destra?
Thank you. I stand before you guilty and unworthy. How can I be forgiven and holy? And I know I break your heart, but you promised I could start all over. And all the things I've done, you placed them each and every one into the sea of forgetfulness. You placed all of my sins, but I'm the one who keeps reminding you over and over again. Into the sea of forgetfulness, as far as the east from the west, 70 times 7, you've forgiven me, and you keep cleansing me and placing my sin into the sea of forgetfulness. You welcome me with open arms of mercy. In spite of all I've done, you still keep loving me. And I only need to ask, and you erase all of my past forever. My debts have all been paid, and they have all been washed away. Into the sea of forgetfulness, you placed all of my sin, but I'm the one who keeps reminding you over and over again. Into the sea of forgetfulness, as far as the east from the west, 70 times 7, you've forgiven me, and you keep cleansing me and placing my sin into the sea of forgetfulness. It's your unfailing love that covers me in all my multitude of sin. It's your steadfast love that keeps reminding me I'm forgiven. Into the sea of forgetfulness, you placed all of my sin,
of forgetfulness. As far as the east from the west, 70 times 7, you've forgiven me, and you keep cleansing me and placing my sin into the sea of forgetfulness, placing my sin into the sea of forgetfulness. Yes. Ooh. Happy International Women's Day. God bless you all.
Good morning, this is your TTT News Update. I'm Carrie Roberts. Making the news at this time. Minister of Homeland Security Roger Alexander says the current state of emergency has been successful so far. Speaking with TTT News at Pagua celebrations in El Dorado on Sunday evening, the minister said police have been making significant inroads since the measure took effect.
From the date it started and today, we have seized about 9 or 10 firearms, if I'm not mistaken. We also have detained a number of persons. And you know, sometimes I hear people talk and I hear they mention to us time after time, you know, what happens after, why nobody's charged. If you're having something called a preventative detention order, is it not to prevent something from happening? And if you prevent something from happening, then it did not happen.
Minister Alexander also criticized the opposition for rejecting the regulations guiding the state of emergency.
I also noticed that there was a paparazzi type finish by the People's National Movement. That's all I could call it, a paparazzi type finish, because they are complaining about the regulations. But they didn't realize that all we did, we dust it off. The ones that they had in 2024, dust it off, improve on it, and bring it back. And now they are rejecting it.
Inter-Caribbean Airways has officially launched its new 4 times weekly service between Grantley Adams International Airport and Piarco International Airport, a move government says strengthens regional travel, trade and tourism. Speaking at the official launch and arrival of the airline on Sunday evening, Minister of Transport and Civil Aviation Eli Zakur said the new route reflects growing confidence in TNT as a Caribbean gateway and marks another step in expanding the country's aviation footprint.
This development represents an important step forward in strengthening regional air connectivity, and deepening direct links between Trinidad and Tobago and one of the Caribbean's key aviation hubs. Inter-Caribbean Airways operates an extensive regional network connecting more than 20 destinations across the Caribbean. Their decision to include Trinidad and Tobago reflects both the strength of our aviation sector and the opportunities that lie ahead for regional.
Minister Zakur said the service is not just a new line on a schedule, but is an investment in regional integration that will boost business, tourism, and people-to-people links across the Caribbean.
It is an investment in regional integration. It supports tourism by making it easier for visitors to experience the culture and energy of Trinidad and Tobago. It supports trade by facilitating the movement of business travelers and strengthening commercial relationships. And it strengthens the bonds that unite Caribbean people. The launch of this service demonstrates a commitment to strengthening regional connectivity and transforming distance into opportunity for the people of the Caribbean.
Inter-Caribbean connects more than 20 destinations across the Caribbean, and the new service between Trinidad and Tobago and Barbados will operate 4 times weekly, which officially began on Sunday. In sport now, history was made in Ahmedabad on Sunday night, and India made sure of it in emphatic fashion to lift the ICC Men's T20 World Cup for a record third time, brushing aside New Zealand in a final that was never really a contest. In front of a 132,000-strong crowd inside the stadium, India took the game away from New Zealand entirely, with their batters putting on 92 runs inside the first 6 overs alone. Sanju Samson finishing with 89 off 45 balls. Inshan Kishan kept his foot on the gas with a blistering 54 off 25 as India posted 255 for 5. New Zealand's reply never threatened. Finn Allen, Rishin Ravindra and Glenn Phillips all fell cheaply. Only Tim Seifert resisted with a top score of 52 as the batting lineup simply had no answer for India's attack. Jasprit Bumrah was unplayable. His 4 wickets for just 15 runs marked the first time a bowler has taken a 4-wicket haul in a T20 World Cup final. Axar Patel on his home turf was equally devastating, spinning out 3 batters as New Zealand folded for 159 in 19 overs, 96 runs short of their target. And that was your TTT News Update. I'm Carrie Roberts. From the entire team here, have a great day.
This is TTT. Live for local.